looking around, you already know I'm on both Instagram and Facebook. So forgive me for looking around but yeah. So we're here today, and the topic that I'm going to bring up is pretty simple, cut and dry. Because then the one thing that I want you to realize is that I know we've talked about doing everything yourself, and hi, Radiance, and how it does not work and how it's not good, right? Because then you burn yourself out. But my thing is, if your plan for your nonprofit is to just wing it, and just try everything and see what sticks, or just do the work and hopefully like you're able to grow. Honestly, you don't have a strategy, you just have a fire drill. Now, what I mean by you just have a fire drill, like you're basically responding to emergencies and in reaction mode, making decisions on the fly, dropping everything for the next urgent thing because everything's always urgent. You're always scrambling and everything. That's what I mean by fire drill. Because if you know, fire drills is like drop everything and go. Okay. So it's fueled with reactivity, it's high stress. We've got to act now energy. Everybody's got to go. So that's what I mean by you don't have a strategy, you have a fire drill. So essentially be very mindful in terms of winging it. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and what that looks like. Because what I want you to do right now is like tune in, because a lot of leaders don't want to admit they're just winging it, right? So just tune in and listen as to how you should circumvent that and things that you can do. But before we get started, I'm gonna go and preface with I'm Stacy. You know, if you're watching this video live, drop a hi in the chat, hashtag live. Let me know you're here. Tell me where you're tuning in from and what your nonprofit does, who you serve, who you lead or support. If you're catching the replay, go ahead and comment hashtag replay so I can come back and say hi to you personally. Today's message is going to hit a little different with a lot of nonprofit leaders because some will find themselves in this situation, and that's okay. But there's a way out of that, because when you get out of that mode, it's going to help you become more successful. So I want to talk to you about something that I see every single day, right, in the nonprofit space, and it's hurting your organization more than you want to admit. So I said it already, it's basically winging it every single day. That's hurting you more than it's actually helping you. And you're actually convincing yourself at this point that it's normal. The work that you're doing is normal, right? So, like, let's be honest about something. You wake up, right? You go through your routine or whatever you have, open your organizational email, you react to whatever's urgent, right? You're putting out fires and responding to last minute requests. You're pulling a graphic together in Canva for a post that nobody on your team reviewed. Like, these are all things that happen on the fly, and then you're wondering why you're not seeing consistent growth. Because that's the other thing. It's like, you're doing all the work, you're doing everything, but growth is not happening at the rate that you want it to happen. Now, the thing with that is you do not have a plan. You have a pattern, right? You have the pattern of that pattern is what's keeping you stuck in the same stage that you were in last year. It's like your pattern is, oh, we got this problem, we're going to do it, right? Or like this grant is coming up, we're going to apply on the fly. We don't even know what they're asking for. And then if we do get it, we're just going to adjust our plan for it. So nothing really is strategic or has a plan or strategy or intention behind it. So there is something I want you to think about. Imagine a nonprofit, right? A nonprofit that the passion is there. They have programs. The only thing that's missing is the plan. The team is burnt out, right? The board checked out. They don't do anything, right? And basically the leader is saying we're always working, but never feel like we're getting ahead. If that's something that sounds familiar, I want you to keep that in your mind, right? Like you feel like you're doing all the work, but you're never getting ahead. That is something that's more common than not. Okay. So What happens when there's no calendar, no campaign roadmap, no decision-making framework? You're just functioning off of vibes. Oh, this feels good. Let's just do it, right? And the mission, it becomes a situation where you're always trying to do the most with no clear vision or no clear end in sight. Like there shouldn't be an end, right? There should be a vision of what you're aspiring to do, but that can't happen if you're not actually thinking of the different systems that you need to put in place to ensure that you're accomplishing it, right? Because you're busy doing everything on the day to day. You're not really focusing on what you actually need to do. Okay, so that's why that's why most of my clients book strategy sessions is to help them figure out what's missing and what needs to happen so the team can flourish, right? So the team can have structure because in the absence of structure, that's when things get very chaotic and you start functioning like you're experiencing a fire drill every day. Like I don't remember what show, like it's not a drill, but whatever, that's what's playing in my head right now. But I want you to realize that it does not have to be like that. It does not have to be a situation, a daily situation where you're waking up and trying to figure out, oh, what do I have to do today? Okay. So I always, like you already know, I back this up with numbers that I research before coming every day, every time I come live. So I know in Salesforce nonprofit trends, like says 72% of nonprofits all like have said that their biggest operational challenge is balancing daily work with strategic planning. So if you are just winging it with the daily activities and you're not focusing on the strategy, that's why a lot of nonprofits fall into that category. That's why they end up being a statistic because most organizations are stuck in reaction mode. They function that way, which is not normal, which needs to be studied. I honestly think that's something that needs to be studied, and that needs to be something that's provided in any sort of capacity building course for newer nonprofits so they can understand that being in that mode keeps them stuck in a place they do not want to be in. Okay, so what does reaction mode look like for a lot of nonprofits? So, one thing, it really looks like missed deadlines, missed grant deadlines because you didn't have a preparation system, right? Events that go live before sponsorship asked or even sent. Because what I mean by that is oftentimes nonprofits will have events they set up, but they never ask for sponsorships. So a lot of the money was coming from internally or out of pocket and for the founders or the leaders of the nonprofit because the event actually went live before they even made their ask. Okay. So donor follow-ups, another one is donor follow-ups. They never happened because no one had the time. Now, these are all things that signify being in reaction mode. And that's the mode I need you to get out of because if you're stuck in reaction mode, you're never going to see the end of it. You're going to do is like basically go in a cycle, like over and over again, try to do the same thing over and over again. Wake up, check your email, respond, and then like never have the time to actually focus on working on the organization because you're so focused on that. And that level of chaos, like I say this with a lot of love in my heart, it is not noble. It's not passion. It's avoidable. It's a situation that's definitely avoidable because you're not doing what you can. You're doing everything that you don't have to do, but you're telling yourself you have to do. You're doing what the system is forcing you to do, right? Because there's no structure to support something better. Now, when you develop a system to support um, a better structure within the organization to do better and to actually have better goals and better activities in place, then it helps you, it supports the growth of the organization. But if you're always functioning in a way that's like so reactive, it causes your nonprofit organization to also suffer. And that's the part I want you to be very cognizant of. And and take take that seriously, more seriously, so you can do better. And I'm just seeing some of the comments now. Hey, Ricky, yes, planning is a must. Let me respond here because then I did forget to check the comments and on Facebook because that's on the other screen. But essentially, I want to challenge your thinking for a minute. Now, when you think about chaos, right, the way nonprofits function, it's actually a choice. I've said this before, the reactivity or things not going well, it's really a choice. If your organization does not have a 90-day plan, a revenue calendar, or a team that knows what's coming next, that is not capacity, that's a leadership issue. That's because the leaders did not make the decision to function in a better way that supports the organization, its mission, and its vision. Yes, I said it, it's a leadership issue when there's so much chaos within an organization, because oftentimes you don't need more people, you need a system. And what's happening is that nonprofit organizations, like the smaller ones or the ones that have a lean team, they're wasting time they cannot get back. So donors trust that you can't, they don't, you're wasting donor trust because you can't afford to lose because you don't have systems, right? And you're wasting like energy on staff that you desperately need to stay inspired because you don't have system. This staff, like your staff members are doing things that they don't need to be doing. Like let's say you have an outreach team, but you're drowning in admin work and you ask your team to tap in, they could be focusing on outreach and growing helping you grow recognition of the organization, but they're doing admin work and they can't do their job. So again, you're wasting energy. That's why like systems within an organization is so important because it helps you use the capacity that you have to its fullest so you can do a better job and grow your organization. So what real planning is going to look like for your organization, like the opposite of what chaos is looking like for an organization, it's like a quarterly fundraising calendar that's actually tied to the actual capacity of the organization. When I say tied to actual capacity of the organization, I mean, like if you're putting event or fundraising activity for your nonprofit, let's say you're putting a gala together and you're supposed to have 400 attendees, you only have two team members. You don't know who an event coordinator might be. Like you don't know what you're doing. You don't yet have the capacity for it, but you can build the relationships to help you do something like that together. So maybe right now is not the right time so it doesn't fit your actual capacity. That's why I say quarterly fundraising calendar. You need to look at it on a quarterly basis to ensure it's tied to your actual capacity. What are you able to do right now? Okay. Now, recurring donor touch points and systemized follow-ups. Now, that needs to be something that you set up where like if you have a donor software for people to donate to, do you have a workflow set up? Do you have systematized follow-ups with these donations where not only you send the thank you, right? But there are follow-ups like, hey, this is what we've accomplished in the last year. This is what we've been able to do. And also setting their email up in an email campaign software like I don't know what you use, whether MailerLite, MailChimp, whatever it is, setting up a campaign to send to donors so there can be regular touch points and you can keep them abreast of what's happening within your organization so they don't feel like it's wasted money like they gave and they don't know what's happening, and also taking advantage of storytelling and these systematized follow-ups because oftentimes, oh, it's not personal, it's not this, I don't want to use that, I don't want to use technology. You need to, because if you're trying to save yourself time and be in a position where you can actually do work that helps your nonprofit increase its impact, you need to start thinking of how you can systematize a lot of the things that are happening, right? And the third thing that this looks like not having chaos in your nonprofit is having a team that knows their role and their execution. Now, there's a reason with my strategic planning sessions with my clients, like it's a 6 months process, 6 month process, but I ask them to also bring their team members in these sessions. The reason for that is because you want buy-in from your team. You want your team members to understand their roles and what they're doing so they can be able to implement the work that's necessary to put the strategic plan together and to implement actions that lead you to your vision. Okay. Now, the other thing that I need to see in your organization is that you have leadership that can finally breathe because they're not scrambling every day to do the work that's necessary for the nonprofit to actually go to the next level. So, essentially, that is what I help my clients like set up in the 90-minute strategy session. No filler, just learn how to systematize the work that's within the nonprofit organization, right? Having structure and a strategic breakdown of what's happening currently and how to fix it. It's not a full-blown strategic plan, but it is a roadmap of what they can do within like the short term to get to a point where they're breathing, because that's the thing. Like you need to be able to sit down and breathe to finally think about, okay, what's next? What do I need to do? Because I strongly believe every nonprofit organization needs a strategic plan and operational plan so they can grow effectively. And that's one way that I support a lot of my clients. It's like determining how they're going to reach their goals and accomplish their vision strategically and how to start implementing these strategies within their operation to make sure they accomplish this within the time frame that they set in the strategic plan. Now, my thing is, if you're ready to stop winging it and you're tired of fire drills, because then I say fire drills is like at a drop of a hat, they expect you to drop everything and run to that exit on the left and exit the door, go on the lawn, go on the patio, whatever it is, because fire drills are very reactive. So I want you to stop behaving that way within your nonprofit. There shouldn't be missed opportunities. There shouldn't be a mental fog that's coming with always being behind, because that's the thing with doing it all and winging it every day. You feel like you're always behind because there's always something you do not have the time to do. And that's always going to happen when there is no strategy behind what you're doing. Because then you wake up on Monday, you have a checklist that's like, show you one of my checklists. Well, I'm not going to show you one of mine, but I'm just going to show you an example of a checklist. So let's say you have a note, right? It's long, front and back. You have a checklist that's front and back, maybe 3 of those. And you can't even get through the whole thing in a day. Or it's 8 o'clock at night and you're like finally at the bottom of that list. Nobody wants to feel that way. Nobody wants to feel like they're not accomplishing what they set out to do. So winging it every day does not work. So there needs to be some type of strategy in the way you approach the work that you do as a leader of a nonprofit organization to ensure that you're able to get to your goals, meet your vision, and do the work that you need to do. So that's my 2 cents in regards to that. Essentially, like I meet you. That's where I'm meeting everybody. If you're not ready to take strategic action and do things that work for your organization, I'm not the person for you, because I'm going to challenge you to think outside of the box and be really honest with yourself of what you're able to do and what you need to do to get to the level that you want. If it's always woe is me and you're not willing to make certain decisions because fear or whatnot, then if you've ever watched my lives and you know the type of person I am, I'm not the person to work with. Because then I will tell you what you need to do. I will guide you in every way possible to ensure that you get the work done and you get to the position where you want to be, because that's my goal. I want to see you succeed. I want to see nonprofit organizations succeed, because I don't know about you, we are not living in a time where nonprofits are getting the support that they need. And I think it's time for nonprofit leaders and nonprofit organizations to get out there and do the work that's necessary to start getting the support that's needed without waiting for somebody to come save them, because nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to come save your nonprofit if you're not being the leader that you need to be. So with that said, my strategy sessions, that's the best way to start working with me, especially if you're a smaller nonprofit or even a larger nonprofit and you're not sure how I work with my clients. And my strategy sessions are $597, and it's worth 10 times that in the money that you're leaving in the table right now. So I want you to remember that. And check the link in my comments, because in my Stan Store, there is a link to book a strategy session, or DM me the word strategy and I'll send you the link directly. Or if you have any questions about it, definitely DM me and we can talk a little bit about where your organization is at and what's needed, and then we'll go from there. Now, today is going to be a short live because then yeah, I today's Thursday and I have a long day, but I wanted to make sure I come here today and talk to y'all. So if you have any questions, definitely drop them in the comments. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. I'm looking forward to chatting with you and hope to hear from you soon. Bye.